Thanks to this bill passed here in Texas in 2023, a community in Austin was able to disannex themselves from the city of Austin. Let's check it out.
House Bill 3053 recently passed in Texas, giving more power to communities who may have been unfairly annexed. As part of TVPF's broader push for disannexation reform, Representative Dean and Senator Paxton secured a crucial victory with this bill, allowing select communities to now hold an election regarding disannexation. This victory will protect Texans against encroaching and controlling cities that initially used involuntary annexation as a tool to entrap their communities, knowing they needed to take advantage of this loophole before the legislature took action.
All right, let's see what the residents had to say about this before the vote, and then we'll check out what happened after.
Voting for the May 4th election begins tomorrow. 6 different locations in Austin will vote on whether to leave the city. Disannexation would mean that those areas wouldn't be taxed by the city, but wouldn't have access to certain city services. Residents in one neighborhood say it's time for their area to be disannexed from the city of Austin. Lost Creek in far southwest Austin has been part of Austin for about 9 years now. Some residents there say they are paying city taxes, but feel they are not getting sufficient city services. KVU's Kelsey Sanchez talked to neighbors about why they say a change is needed.
These 4 have called Lost Creek home for quite some time.
We've lived here a little over 9 years.
30 plus years, yes.
About 9 years.
I've been a Lost Creek resident for 13 years.
Years they want to keep counting because they chose to live here.
When I chose to buy my property and to live in this area, it's because I wanted a safe place.
But for Leslie Odom, that safe place is no longer.
Break-ins are normal. Car break-ins are normal. People are showing up in garages. Sometimes it feels like we're a powder keg waiting to blow.
And why she and other neighbors feel it's time for this area to break away from the city of Austin.
Finally, now it's come to fruition where we get to vote on what the people here want.
The neighborhood has been part.
I don't blame them for 1 second. You move to a certain community outside of Austin that's not a part of Austin because you want to be in a smaller, safer place. You don't want to be, then you get absorbed by a big city, and now you're dealing with some of the BS that they deal with.
Part of Austin since 2015, meaning they're supposed to get all the services from the city: police officers, fire crews, trash collection. However, in that time, they've only accumulated what they call false promises.
We have to pay it out of our pocket to hire off-duty officers to patrol the streets.
We're essentially being double taxed just in order to have some semblance of law enforcement in our community.
The fight was taken to the Capitol in 2021, but died in the House. Now, a few years later, this community has a chance to change what they say was taken away from them.
Well, that's why we're voting, to see if change will improve the situation here.
In Southwest Austin, Kelsey Sanchez, KVU News.
Kelsey, thank you. Now, if the vote goes in favor of disannexation, the neighborhood would receive law enforcement and emergency services from Travis County and continue to receive emergency services from Austin-Travis County EMS.
All right, let's keep going here. And what happened after the vote?
Well, Travis County voters also weighed in to see if a handful of neighborhoods can disannex the city, or rather disannex from the city of Austin. And 3 of 6 neighborhoods near the outskirts of Austin disannexed from the city: Lost Creek, Blue Goose, and River Place all voted in favor. Malone preliminary voted against, and 2 of those props are still undecided.
Now, the neighborhoods disannexed will see changes to their services. Austin-Travis County EMS will still be the one providing emergency services, but instead of Austin Fire and Police, the local emergency service district would respond for fire, and the Travis County Sheriff's Office would be the law enforcement. Now, TCSO says, well, since many of these areas have been in their jurisdiction before, their deputies are familiar with them and they'll be able to get there faster.
It's quite likely that it'll be easier for
Which is exactly why they will be just fine.
us to get to some of these locations because they're closer to the unincorporated areas we already patrol.
Austin Water and Energy would continue to provide their services to these areas, but people living there, well, would have to pay the out-of-city rate.
They'll find a way to make it work. They made it work just fine when they weren't a part of the city of Austin. So there's a sheriff's county. Sorry, there's a sheriff's county. There is a fire department that will take care of them. The EMS services, they'll be just fine. So kudos to this county, this community, Lost Creek, and then the two others that decide to disannex because they feel like they're being gypped by being part of the city of Austin. City of Austin has a police shortage of about 500 officers right now, and like you heard the one guy say, they're having to pay extra money, like they're being double taxed to have extra patrol in the neighborhood. You don't want that. It's very. I think there's something happened like this in Georgia. I think there's a community down there near Atlanta that wants to basically, disannex from the city and have their own police department and do their own thing, because Atlanta is a mess when it comes to crime. But yeah, great job to the city. The citizens voting 91%. 91% of the citizens there who voted for that voted to disannex. So great job on that. And great job on Texas legislature getting that done. So cities like this, little communities, won't have to feel like they can't be absorbed and taken over by these big cities. All right, guys. Thanks for listening. Like and subscribe. See you next time. Thank you. Take care.